Can we please take a moment to sit here and pray over the passing of Chester Bennington? While I don't listen to Linkin Park as much nowadays, Linkin Park was the first band I ever fell in love with, and honestly, even though I don't listen to them that much, they're still one of my favorite bands. And I still know probably all the words to all their earlier songs anyway. But with the passing of Chester, I gotta say that I probably cried more than I have when any other celebrity has died. Chester's voice was one of the best, one of the most talented he was one of the most talented musicians in the industry of any band that is out there today, and with his passing it's unfortunate, but shit happens. Chester will never be forgotten. Don't know what's next for Linkin Park. Don't know if they're going to continue making music. Don't know if they're going to replace Chester. Who knows what's going to happen, but I just want to say Linkin Park, I'm a big fan, and you know, Chester will be deeply missed. But with that out of the way, let's get on with the biggest vinyl haul ever. The last haul I did, I said it was my favorite haul ever. I may have lied a little bit. After re-looking through everything I purchased this month, this is not just my biggest haul ever, but probably one of my favorites. So let's get into this because there's a lot to go through. There's like 50 plus albums here that I need to speed through, so let's get on with this. First one is Straight Shooter by Bad Company. Fantastic album. It's not as great as their debut album, but Straight Shooter is great. I love the cover art on it. I love the whole album from start to finish. Just a fantastic album. Definitely a band that I don't see a whole lot of it anymore. Like, you don't see many people into Bad Company anymore, but Straight Shooter, fantastic album right there. I'm going to be speeding through a lot of these as well, just because of how many albums there actually are to get through. But yeah. Anyway. A hip hop 12-inch. This is Chill Rob G with Let Me Know Something with the acapella, and then Know Your Place again with the radio version and the acapella on it. Great 12-inch. Hip hop 12s are going to be something that appear a lot more on my channel. I've started collecting hip hop 12-inches quite a bit now, so there's quite a few hip hop 12s in here, and you'll see quite a few more in my collection in the future. But yeah, this is from 1996. Very good old school hip hop and underrated as well. Soundtrack to Monty Python's Life of Brian. I don't need to say much about this. It's basically the film, but a shortened down version of the film. Boogie Down Productions, Edutainment. Fantastic album by Boogie Down Productions. Probably my favorite album by him, actually. This is an original pressing as well. From 1990. Fantastic album. Love it. Light Up the Night by Brothers Johnson. Another fantastic album. 1980s the year on this. There's the open gatefold. There is the back cover. I don't know how well you can see it. The lighting's kind of screwed up, but yeah. The Brothers Johnson, Light Up the Night. Great funk album. Highly recommended. Another great funk album is Link's Intuition. Great album. This is from 1981. So again, sort of the same era, the 80s. Great album. Definitely loved it from start to finish. Great recommendation from my record store, so gotta give props to that. To them for recommending that. And another album they recommended was Hearsay by Alexander O'Neill. Fantastic album. 1987. a little bit later on in the 80s, but still fantastic. And you know, again, not a song on here that I didn't enjoy, so one that will probably get a few more spins in the future. The next one is an unofficial release. I don't know how people feel about bootlegs really, but this is a mixtape by Pete Rock and Smoke DZA. This is the Don't Smoke Rock mixtape. It is an unofficial release, of course, but one thing I do like is how the vinyl looks. Now, I don't like a lot of coloured vinyl, but the purple looks really nice. But the other record is actually a clear record, so I'll show you that one as well. I like how they've done that, but I would have preferred if both records were like purple. There's the clear one. I don't like it as much as the purple, but you know, there's not a whole lot I can really do about that, so we're gonna have to leave it there, I guess. Yeah, so I don't know how many people online feel about bootlegs, but since this is the only way to grab this album, I'm fine with it. Next up is Auto American by Blondie. I'm not a big Blondie fan, but I did enjoy this album quite a bit. 1980 is the year on this. I especially this is not going to come as a surprise to many people, but I especially love the song Rapture on this album, which she obviously raps on, so I've got to love that song to death, and I love that Blondie album, so maybe I'll get more in the future, who knows. Next is definitely an essential album in the world of hip-hop. If you're a hip-hop collector, you need to have this album. It's Straight Outta Compton by NWA. Fantastic album. Again, sticking with the 80s. 88 is the year on this. Love this album. One of my favourite albums of all time. And you know, songs like Straight Outta Compton, Fuck the Police, Gangsta Gangsta, Express Yourself. Fantastic album. And you know, just an all-round masterpiece in the world of hip-hop. So yeah, of course I'm going to have that. Don't know why it took me so long to grab a copy, but oh well. Next is another album I'm surprised I don't have yet, or didn't have yet, was Signed, Sealed and Delivered by Stevie Wonder. 1970 is the year on this album, so it's his earlier stuff. It's fantastic, fantastic album. And you know, pretty much all the Stevie Wonder's stuff is great, but this album especially is really, really good. And I love it, so of course I'm going to have that album. Stevie Wonder, Signed, Sealed, Delivered. Staple for pretty much any collection. Onto some more Hip Hop 12s. This is React by Eric Sermon, featuring Redman, with I'm Hot on the B-side. This is Afro Raw Crossfire, with Lyrical Monster on the B-side. This is You Gots to Chill by EPMD. It has the acapella and everything on it, so it's a fantastic thing to own, little thing to own there. Special Ed, Think Twice, 12-inch. You have to kind of see the sticker, because a lot of these 12 inches have been put in these white or black sleeves, so there's not going to be a whole lot to see. And then there's this hip hop compilation, which I'm going to put in hip hop 12 inches. This is Beat, Scratch and Boogie, with songs from Johnson Crew, African Bambaataa, Soul Sonic Force, Sonic Patrol, WizKid. You know, it's just a fantastic album. Next up is a hip hop album. It's kind of a compilation, but you know, it counts. It comes under Wu-Tang really. It's Wu Chronicles. It is an original pressing, not the bootleg with green vinyl. This is an official release, first pressing of this album 1999 is the year on this. I was very lucky to get this actually, because it came from my record store and I didn't hesitate to grab it. So there is that. Next is another recommendation. It is Sly and the Family Stone, Back on the Right Track. I believe 1979 is the year on this. This is an American import copy. So, yep, fantastic. And again, another great album. Motown Double Disco. This is a 12-inch single of Family. Excuse me if I pronounce the name wrong. Thelma Houston and Diana Ross. I think they're disco remixes of the two tracks, or I don't know if they're official, but the actual songs themselves. But it is a 1978 release, excuse me, and it's actually really good. I wasn't expecting much of it, but yeah, great 12-inch. Next is Silver Convention. I can't show you the B-side because the video might get flagged from YouTube, but yeah, fantastic album. Again, great funk album. So there's that. And the year on this, in case people are wondering, is This is a re-release from 1976. So yeah, there we go. Next up is a Hip Hop 12 of De La Soul, Say No Go. Great 12-inch, of course, and it's on the Tommy Boy label, which is one of my favourite record labels to pick stuff up from. Another album is Rufus and Shaka Khan Live. Great album, really enjoyed it. 1983 is the year on this one. Fantastic album. Love the gatefold. Love this album from start to finish. So yeah, there's that one. And another one is Fatback Band Live. Great album. It comes with the 14-minute version of I Found Unloving. It says 15 minutes, but it's just a little bit over 14 minutes long. But yeah, fantastic song. So, or just a great album, full stop. So, of course, I picked that up. The Best of the Manhattans. Gotta get that. 1978. If you're not sure about an artist but they look kind of cool and you want to get into them, always get a best of to start with. This is a great album, and I'm definitely going to get more Manhattans when I see them. One of my favorite rock bands, actually, this is Asia by Steely Dan. I don't think Steely Dan have ever done a song that I haven't liked. But this is a fantastic album from start to finish. My personal favourite Steely Dan album. So I had to grab that, of course. The Best of Isaac Hayes. I already knew what Isaac Hayes was capable of, but I really wanted the song Walk On By. And Hot Buttered Soul, which is the album that song originally came off, was not in my record store or anywhere though I looked, so I was forced to get a best of, but it's still fantastic because it is incredible. It's also got the theme from Shaft on here, which is crazy. So yeah, grab that. Next up is Rufus and Shaka Khan Master Jam. Another great album to grab. 1979 is the year on this one as well. Great hit album, another one I liked from start to finish. I would have enjoyed it a bit more if it wasn't in such bad condition, but you know, other than that, fantastic album. Great pickup for anyone who wants more funk and soul that they want to pick up. Now, here's an album you should have if you collect funk and soul. It's The Dude by Quincy Jones. Great album. If you're watching this, do not have this album, pause the video, go to your local record store, in fact go to any record store that you find, get this album, and come back and start watching this video, because this is such an amazing album. And if you do not have this in your collection, you are missing out big time. It's such a great album. Every song on here is just so good. I loved every single minute, every single second this album was spinning on my turntable, so I had to grab this. There it is. The Dude by Quincy Jones. Fantastic album. Absolutely ace. And a must-have in, not even in any funk or soul collection, just in any collection, full stop. Next is Feel the Need by Detroit Emeralds. Fantastic album again. 1977 is the year on this. Great album. So of course I was going to pick it up. And yeah, there's just so much good stuff on this album. It's another one I highly recommend. So here we go. Little bit of a different vibe here. This is Get Your Wings by Aerosmith. I don't listen to a lot of Aerosmith, but there's some great drum breaks. I got it for that purpose. Like if you're becoming a producer or you want to be a producer, this has some great drums on it. So that's the sole reason I picked it up. But yeah, Aerosmith, not my favorite band of all time, but still very good for drums, actually. Like I've just said probably 5 times now, but who cares? Now here's another must-have. Otis Redding, On the Dock of the Bay. 1968. Again, same with the Quincy album. This is one you must have. If you don't have it, stop this video right now, go out and get it, because it's a fantastic album to have. If you don't have it, you are missing out hugely. Mine's not in the best shape. The vinyl anyway is not in the best shape, but hey, there we go. Great. Here's an album. Jay Dilla, The Diary. Not my favorite album, I must admit, but there is still some great songs on here. Mine came with a 12-inch single. Mine came with a 7-inch single, excuse me, and what I believe is a lyric sheet. Yeah, an entire story of how each song came to be. So that's something that's quite nice there. Any Jay Dilla stuff is great. This is just a vocal album by Jay Dilla, so of course I had to grab that. And it was a Record Store Day release, but I didn't get it on Record Store Day. I got it after Record Store Day, when a record store a little bit closer to me from the one that I normally go to had it on sale, like almost half the price of what they were normally selling it for. So I jumped on that so quick. I did not hesitate to place an order for it and grab it, because it's just an amazing album. Amazing album. So Jay Dilla, The Diary of Jay. Another must-have album, Bad by Michael Jackson. I now have this, Dangerous, and Thriller in my collection. The only good, or the only album left from Michael on my wants list is Off the Wall, and maybe Escape. But other than that, any new Michael Jackson albums that I acquire after this, after Off the Wall, is just a bonus. So yeah, Bad by Michael Jackson, 1987. So this is the album directly in between Thriller and Dangerous, but a great album. Man in the Mirror is definitely one of my favorite songs by Michael Jackson, so I could not pass this album up at all. New Birth, Love Potion. Again, another cover I can't show the inside of because I don't want the video to be flagged by YouTube, so we're going to leave it. But yeah, this album was fantastic. 1976. So a lot of 70s soul show you guys, but yeah, another fantastic album to go out and grab. Not as must-have as the Michael Jackson, the Quincy Jones, or the Otis Redding, but still another great album. Last month I showed you an Average White Band album. This is another Average White Band album, but this is their live album. This is Person to Person. This is from 1977. It's a show they did, I believe. I don't remember where this was recorded, excuse me. Philadelphia, this was recorded in. Again, not in the best condition, but still at least in playable condition, and one of my favorite bands without a doubt in the genre now. So yep, Average White Band, Person to Person, another great album by Average White Band. Some surprises here. Really some surprises. Let's Dance by David Bowie. I know a lot of people don't like this album, 1983, but I love this album to death. I really do. I don't know if it's because it's produced by Nile Rodgers, who also produced Chic and Sister Sledge, but this really is a fantastic album. Mine is mint condition as well, which is very hard to come by, so of course I had to grab that. Another one of my favourite bands here, Queen. I've shown two of their albums off before. This is their album A Night at the Opera. It has the embossed cover on it. Fantastic album. Love it. I wanted this album for the sole purpose of having Bohemian Rhapsody in my collection finally, but hey, great album from a great band. Must have some Queen in your collection. I don't care what album it is, go out and get some Queen. Some jazz. I haven't got a lot of jazz recently. I don't know what it is. I think with jazz I'm very selective of my jazz, but this is one jazz artist that I absolutely love, and it's Gregory Porter with his 2013 album Liquid Spirit. This is a fantastic jazz and blues album on the Blue Note label. Love it. He's a very good modern day jazz vocalist. Very nice. His other album, I don't remember what it's called. I haven't listened to it yet. All I know is this album is fantastic, and I first came to know of Gregory from Clapton's remix of the song Liquid Spirit, and that's what made me love this album so much. So I had to grab it when I could find it cheap. So of course, Gregory Porter, Liquid Spirit. It's been a while since I've shown this artist off on my channel, but yes, James Brown, Dead on the Heavy Funk, 1974 to 1976. This has got the Funky President on it, which is why the main reason I picked it up. But yeah, any later James Brown, or any James Brown for that matter, is fantastic. But I prefer the funky James Brown to the soulful James Brown, but James Brown is James Brown, so any James Brown will pass for me. Next is a hip-hop album. This is an iconic hip-hop album, but I don't like it as much as I enjoyed NWA or Wu Chronicles or Don't Smoke the Rock or mixtape or anything. But this is the 2016 reissue of the 1998 album by Lauryn Hill, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. This is a double album. It was not my favorite hip-hop album. Still a great album because it's iconic in hip-hop, but I'm sorry, this album is not my favorite. Still good, but I couldn't just pick this out every single day and listen to it like most of the hip-hop stuff I have. it's not one of those albums where I love it to death enough to play it to death. So unfortunately, Lauryn Hill, still great but not perfect. Next up is another record store recommendation, and this is Dancing in the Key of Life by Steve Arrington. 1985 is the year on this. And yeah, great album, very upbeat. You know, it's not my typical kind of vibe, but I did like this album. So of course I'm going to recommend it to everybody watching this video right now. Go out and get that album. We Are Family by Sister Sledge. I don't know why I didn't have any Sister Sledge before. Again, produced by Nile Rodgers. It's the Nile Rodgers thing. He's done Chic, Sister Sledge, David Bowie, Let's Dance. 1979 is the year on this, but it obviously has We Are Family. It has He's the Greatest Dancer. I really love this album. It's just a shame it's not in the best condition. My particular copy anyway. Next up is actually an album that I'm going to call my show-off piece. Which I think every collection needs a show-off piece. This is definitely mine for any hip-hop collectors. But this is Nas, God's Son. Now, before anyone comments saying, oh yeah, that's a bootleg, this album, as far as I'm aware, this album was never bootlegged and it was only ever released on CD. The only way to legitimately get this album on vinyl is if it's a promo copy, like this one is. Made You Look is one of my favourite hip-hop songs of all time. That song is on this album. There's not a whole lot of songs on this album I didn't like. This album is a masterpiece by Nas, and I had to grab it. I could not let it just sit in the record store, so of course I had to grab it. And Nas being one of my favourite hip-hop artists, I had to get it. So Nas, God's Son, the promo copy. Now that's my show-off piece right there. Next up are a few things my parents picked up for me while they were out in Romania this year. They got me the best of the Stylistics. So of course it's gonna be great songs of theirs like Stop, Look, Listen, and You're a Big Girl Now, You Are Everything, you know, all them classics. I've said before that I was not a big fan of the Stylistics, but let me tell you, this album really changed my mind on that. Stylistics are great, but again, I think I'm going to be very selective with the Stylistics songs that I pick up and listen to. You know, I can't just do everything. So, next up, Betty Wright, Traveling in the Right Circle, another American import. 1979 is the year on this. Fantastic album. She's a soul singer, but this is a kind of funky album, and it's great. It's a fantastic album. Definitely fantastic album. Highly recommend it. Another Steely Dan album, actually. One my parents picked up for me. Again, when they were out in Romania. It is Pretzel Logic by Steely Dan, 1974. I don't like this album as much as Asia, but I do still like this album. Steely Dan is one of my favourite bands. So I'm going to make sure I have a lot of stuff by them. And there is the open gatefold, so yeah. But it's a great album. All the Steely Dan's albums, in my opinion, are great. You can never go wrong with a little bit of Steely Dan. Definitely up there for one of my top bands, and of course I'm going to make sure that I get more Steely Dan in the future. And the last thing my parents picked up for me when they were out in Romania, Nat King Cole Sings For You. Again, no year on this. I have 3 Nat King Cole albums now and none of them have a year on them. But this is a great album. I really do like Nat King Cole's music quite a bit, so any Nat King Cole, I'm appreciative of it. So of course I'm going to have every collection needs something cheesy, and for me it's She's So Unusual by Cyndi Lauper. I was not a fan of this album. The only song I really liked on this was Time After Time. Everything else was just way too cheesy for me to even listen to. So I don't know if this is going to stay in the collection, but maybe I'll just keep it for the point of having something cheesy. Next up is a promo of DMX Party Up. Def Jam promo. Of course it's a promo, it's a 12-inch, so it's going to be added to my Hip Hop 12-inch collection. Next up is Dionne Warwick, I'll Never Fall in Love Again. Like that. And I really like how you have to open this album to get the album out, because then you always have to look at the inside of the gatefold, and I really like that about this. Great Dionne Warwick album, fantastic, and it's just great. Next up is something I didn't think I would like, but actually turned out to be pretty decent. It's Nick Barker and the Reptiles, Going in Pieces. 1989 is the year on this, so very late 80s. But it was really good actually. It's very similar to Whitesnake, I would say. So if you're into Whitesnake, I would highly recommend checking out this band, because I'd never heard of them before this. I picked it up because the cover looked pretty decent, and from the cover you can tell a lot, so hey, there's that. Next up is a hip-hop album, very rare hip-hop album from 1996. This is Exhibit at the Speed of Life, double album. And I recommend that if your record store has a back room and they say they don't know what's out there, go dig in there. Go dig in that room, because you could find anything in there. Well, it used to be one of my favourite rappers, Exhibit. I haven't listened to his stuff in a long time, so that album was a great find on my part. One final hip-hop 12-inch I got this month was Fed Up by House of Pain from 1996. Great hip-hop 12-inch. Definitely something to pick up in future if you are a fan of hip-hop. Great album, of course, D-Train Music, 1983. It's got the song Keep Giving Me Love, which is just a fantastic song, so I had to get this. I could not leave that sitting on the shelf at all. Next is Under the Influence of Love by Love Unlimited. They're produced by Barry White, so that's the main reason I picked this up. And I thought it was going to be soul based on the cover, but it's not. It's funk, and it's great. So again, pick that up if you're around in your record store and they have this. 1973 is the year on this, so it's just fantastic. Fantastic. And the last album I'm going to show off, and there's a reason I left it till last, because if you have watched my videos before, you know this is my favourite band. It's AC/DC, and it's Power Ridge. This was a hard album to find. Really was. And I think it's the album in between Let There Be Rock and Highway to Hell. In fact, I know it is. Great album from start to finish. 1978's the year. I actually have a t-shirt with this album artwork on it, and I love that t-shirt so much that I wear it quite a bit, so of course I'm going to have it. But yeah, this is just a fantastic album. One of my favourite bands. In fact, my all-time favourite band, so at the moment at least. So yeah, AC/DC, my favourite band. So of course I'm going to get this, and of course I'm going to save it till last. So with that is it for this vinyl haul. Quite a big vinyl haul for the month of July, but of course I think they're only going to get bigger and better at this point, because I'm going to get to that point now where I can get more albums every single month. So guys, again, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you immediately know when I upload next. Go like my Instagram because I'm always posting on there of what I'm listening to currently and showing off things that you may not know are actually in my collection. So go over there, check that out, and with that, Alex Spins Vinyl, out. Peace.